People who live here are not happy tonight. They're very outraged on everything in there, from what they call rusted out stairways to mold in the apartments. And they say the management company here that gets a lot of its funding through Section 8 vouchers, government monies, they want to know what they're doing with that money and why they believe that money's going to substandard repairs. You don't even need to go in an apartment at Eureka Gardens to find the frustration of the people who live there.
If you can come look at this hole, I would like for you to see how big this hole is. You see this? Mold, whatever, fungus, green, whatever. That's not our job to clean that up. This right here came from this right here. Bam. We fix your steps, guys.
A woman stopped to show us the steps, where she says the repair job is shoddy at best.
Where's the money? Where's the money at that the government assist us with? You see this? All that. Really? But you fix our steps. And you tell people that you fix our steps. That's not fixing our steps. This right, oh crap. You see this right here? Can't you see it? Can you see my hand? Hi.
Then we went into the apartments and met back up with Tracy Smith, head of the Tenants Association. We showed you her problems with mold last week. Well, now you can see the mold isn't there anymore because she says the repair groups simply painted over it.
I still tell them it's still going to come through. You don't cover mold with paint. That means the wall needs to come down. There's something under or above the wall between the two apartments that's causing the mold.
Grant has been more than frustrated with the condition of her apartment. She's been outspoken, and she tells us this paint job will not shut her up.
I don't even call it helpless. It's making me angry because all you want to do is patchwork because you want me to shut up. Don't shut me up. Fix the problem.
And I contacted the property management group about these repairs that have been going on. So far, I've not received a call back. We're live on the west side. Scott Johnson, Channel 4, the local station.
A multi-agency city sweep at this west side low-income housing complex at issue the health and safety of the more than 850 adults and children who live there.
The black stuff will shoot out of there sometimes. And then our toilet will kick up black stuff and it'll bubble back up. So if I'm taking a shower, the sink will bubble up with black stuff.
What city inspectors at Eureka Gardens saw today nearly brought a council member to tears and did cause a council staff member to weep. Then they called Mayor Curry, who was angry over what he saw.
The sweep started this morning. The goal to see what needs to be done to make the homes at Eureka Gardens safe and to see if federal inspectors missed anything when the complex passed a HUD inspection in August.
The News 4 Jax investigators started looking into complaints last week when tenants called our newsroom for help. Our reporters have been following the inspection, the political fallout, and talking with residents about their predicament. We begin with News 4 Jax investigator Lindsay Gardner live from the Operations Command Center at the complex. Lindsay?
Tom, I have just gotten word from my sources that inspectors are still inside one unit tonight at Eureka Gardens investigating a possible natural gas leak that they found in the ground that could be spreading to one of the units. We also know day 2 of this sweep will begin right here at this command center first thing Monday morning. This is where we saw city officials, the fire marshal's office, as well as code inspectors and city council members all arrive at dawn to begin this two-day operation at Eureka Gardens here this morning. And Mayor Curry tells us this all began because one woman was brave enough to speak out. It's the same woman who called News 4 Jax last week looking for help. Arm in arm with Jacksonville Mayor Lenny Curry. It's not a position Tracy Grant pictured herself in just days ago when this mother and grandmother were showing our cameras what she says is mold in her kitchen, her bathroom, and on her floor. Then she called us again this week when she said property management was trying to cover it up by painting over it.
People are being treated like animals, and they treat animals way better than this.
She helped to organize the effort and even wrote a complaint, then sent to HUD and the mayor's office on Tuesday.
The city of Jacksonville is here today. Members of council are here today because this courageous woman shined a bright light on what many of us did not know was happening and going on.
She watched in disbelief as 60 city officials, including code enforcement and fire marshals, went door to door on Friday.
Fire marshal's office.
They vow they will go inside every unit over 2 days to make sure they are up to code. If not, citations will be written. We were there when 2 fire marshals found 3 violations at their very first building inspection of the morning, including a faulty fire alarm, a hole in these stairs, even the smell of gas. By noon, this one team of inspectors told me already there were too many violations to count. The sweep reached a boiling point when council members saw enough and called the mayor to come and see firsthand what was behind closed doors.
Heartbreaking. Adults shouldn't have to live like this. There's children living under some of these conditions. Some of the mold that I saw and experienced, and I can still feel some of it when I breathe just from a few minutes ago. It is unacceptable.
Tonight, the residents of EUREKA Gardens tell me for the first time in a long time, they are hopeful things will now finally improve.
I knew they were listening, but I didn't know if they heard me. Now I know they hear me.
And just as this story was airing tonight, a source came over and handed me this document. This is a 2-page letter from HUD addressed to the tenants of EUREKA Gardens, and they are addressing every single one of Tracy Grant's complaints in that letter that brought the mayor's office out here today. The letter also reads that HUD inspectors will be here from today all the way through October 16th looking into this situation. I also should note that I reached out to the property owner tonight, the Reverend Richard Hamlet. So far with Global Ministries Foundations has not returned my phone call.
Tonight, News 4 Jax investigates. His tenants accuse him of getting rich off poor people's backs, and now the millionaire pastor who owns the EUREKA Gardens apartment complex is taking more heat for investing more than $1 million in a Christian retreat center.
News 4 Jax investigator Tarek Miner traveled to Memphis and learned Reverend Richard Hamlet's foundation, Global Ministries, purchased a $1.25 million satellite campus earlier this year to expand his ministry, while hundreds of his Section 8 tenants continue to live in squalor.
Memphis locals say Reverend Hamlet is focused on building his own empire rather than trying to improve the quality of life of the people he well knows are living in the subsidized housing complexes he owns. Many are in desperate need of repair, and this is what we found in Memphis. Apartments infested with bugs, brown water, rats, and black mold. We found electrical and structural issues. His tenants are outraged that his attention isn't on the less fortunate. In the working-class neighborhood of Hickory Hills, Tennessee. Hidden behind this gated entrance is what some call a pastor's paradise on 18 acres of land. News 4 Jax has confirmed Richard Hamlet's Global Ministries Foundation paid $1.25 million just 9 months ago for this satellite campus called the Stephen Olford Center. It's a facility the pastor says is designed to teach men and women how to preach.
It is a place where ministers can come, where churches can come and be fed and taught by Dr. David Olford.
The center features 60 dorm rooms, a commercial-grade kitchen, dining facilities, a swimming pool, and a chapel that accommodates 250 people. The campus has walking trails and basketball courts. Employees say it's designed to house large meetings, events, and even weddings. The retreat's elegance is a far cry from the properties Hamlet owns in many cities, including those right here in Jacksonville. Robert Avant lives just 30 miles away from the retreat in the Warren Apartments, which failed a HUD inspection last year. Avant says when the family living above him uses the bathroom, the sewage runs down the wall into his apartment. This is cell phone video Avant shared with us showing water flowing from above.
Like if I come here to take a bath or whatever and they flush their toilet, it just all of it just leak down and it be flooded out right here. You see how I got this towel? So to try to soak the water up.
Avant says he's put in requests to fix the piping in his ceiling for several months with no response. For now, he uses bleach to clean up the mess.
I don't know what to say about it. They won't come fix it. I can't get them. I can't make them. Force them to come do nothing. So I try, and I just make do what I got now.
The problems don't stop there. At 3 of Hamlet's Section 8 housing complexes here in Memphis, residents complain of persistent black mold, unsanitary drinking water, and bathrooms in deplorable condition.
How did your kid get sick?
From the mildew and the water. The water was brown.
We took the concerns of these residents to Reverend Richard Hamlet's foundation office.
Gentlemen! Mr. Hamlet, how are you,
Come on into this house.
Where Hamlet agreed to sit down with me.
Why not take that $1.5 million that you put into the Alford Center and put those into those properties?
Well, those are two different business plans. The Alford Center, we have donors that give to our foundation for specific ministry projects, and we work in 30 countries around the world.
Hamlet says his housing projects are a sustainable business and his ministry a separate entity within his business model. He says he made substantial improvements at his 3 troubled apartment complexes, evacuating 45 families out of their homes because of the poor conditions, and then moving them back in after the repairs were made earlier this year. But residents say the Reverend is blatantly neglecting the needs of the poor.
When you see some of the conditions that the people live in, how does that affect you?
It bothers me. My heart is to come and help those who are who need to be empowered, and those who are the disadvantaged. Excuse me. I mean, this is impromptu, but that's my mission. I want to build bridges to help those who are the least and the disadvantaged.
He's a criminal. He's a criminal masquerading as a man of God, and he's doing it with public money. He is taking advantage of people in the most vulnerable of circumstances and retaliating against people who complain.
Brad Watkins, director of the Mid-South Peace and Justice Center, says the purchase of Hamlet's Retreat Center in the midst of a federal housing investigation disgusts him. He says it sends the message that Hamlet's growing empire is more important than the people living in squalor in Memphis, Jacksonville, Orlando, and New Orleans. Watkins is planning a boycott of the Stephen Alford Center.
We're going to make sure that every church congregation that considers going there takes their business somewhere else. You cannot do God's work in the den of a person who is the worst sort of example of Christianity and the worst sort of example of a pastor and a reverend.
Reverend Hamlet says he wanted the legacy of the Stephen Alford Retreat Center to continue after Dr. Stephen Alford's death. The Alfords and the Hamlets are family friends. Reverend Hamlet owns 61 properties in 8 different states and reports an annual salary of $485,000 a year. We've also learned, according to tax documents, Hamlet hired his family. His wife, Ginger, who's the director of the Women's Outreach, makes about $70,000 a year. His 2 sons, Lucian and Hunter, who are the foundation's financial analyst and the asset manager, pull in $60,000 a year. And his daughter, Natalie Metcalf, who is the corporate secretary, makes $40,000 a year. Reverend Hamlet tells News4Jax he deserves his salary because of all the hard work he puts in every single day. Tarek Miner, Channel 4, the local station.